Chapter 71. Do you know that you look like a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 71. Do you know that you look like a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes? Just then, a familiar voice was heard from behind her. Shop assistant, where are the 2 rolls of materials I asked you to leave for me from France? Are they still here? The shop assistant's expression immediately changed. She put on a flattering smile and walked over to greet the person. Ms. Swa, you're here again. Don't worry, I've wrapped up all the materials you asked for, and they're in perfect condition. Ednel.co, well, that's great. I'm joining this season's Huafeng competition, and I'm aiming for the top prize. The materials I need are very important. You must keep the best ones for me. Money is not a problem. If you get any new fabrics, just call me. As she spoke, her eyes fell on Luo Chenxi, and she was stunned for a moment. The shop assistant hurriedly explained, Miss Swa, this person has been looking around the shop for a long time, but she hasn't bought anything yet. It seems like she can't afford it. I was about to ask her to leave the shop. Swa Xiaoqing was excited and strode over. Luo Chenxi, it's you. You're so poor. How dare you come to such a high-end shop? I'm laughing my head off. Luo Chenxi did not expect to bump into an acquaintance even when she was looking at fabrics. She couldn't help but frown. As expected, enemies often cross each other's paths. She glanced at Swa Xiaoqing and said coldly, isn't this shop opened here to allow people to come in and browse the items? If customers can't even look at it, they might as well close the shop. She was indeed surprised to see Swa Xiaoqing acting so familiar with the shop assistant. Back when she was in high school, Swa Xiaoqing's family background was very ordinary. However, when they met at SL Corporation, she was wearing a full set of SL's new collection. Now, she was buying such expensive and high-quality fabrics. Ordinary families definitely couldn't afford to spend like this. Swa Xiaoqing let out an exaggerated laugh. So what if you've seen it? You can only afford to buy the trash outside. You can't even afford better clothes, yet you dream of winning an award at the Huafeng competition. Let me give you a word of advice. Fashion design is a profession that only rich people can dabble in. A poor person like you should give up on it as soon as possible. Upon hearing this, Luo Chenxi did not fly into a rage out of embarrassment as she had hoped. Instead, the corners of her mouth curled up as she sized up Swa Xiaoqing. Swa Xiaoqing saw the look in her eyes and her heart skipped a beat. The last time Luo Chenxi had such an expression was when she was at SL Corporation. Back then, she sized up Swa Xiaoqing and looked at her from head to toe. This time, could she? Although red and yellow are both popular colors this autumn, there should be a distinction between the main and secondary colors when they are paired with each other. For someone like you who doesn't have any sense of fashion aesthetics, you would wear just about anything that's in season and popular. Do you know that you look like a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes? As soon as she had finished speaking, a snicker could be heard from the side. Swa Xiaoqing turned her head angrily and saw the shop assistant covering her mouth in embarrassment. In fact, when Swa Xiaoqing first came in, the shop assistant had already thought that she was dressed a little weirdly. However, Swa Xiaoqing was a big client, and she was a designer who graduated from a well-known art academy. Naturally, the shop assistant was doubtful of her own tastes. Now that Luo Chenxi had made such a vivid comparison, she could not help but laugh out loud. Damn you, Luo Chenxi, who are you calling scrambled eggs with tomatoes? These 2 pieces are the hottest designs from SL this year. They cost hundreds of thousands. What do you know? Luo Chenxi smiled and said, let me give you a piece of advice too. Fashion design is a career for people with artistic talent. Money alone is not enough. If Miss Swa wants to win the first prize in the Huafeng competition, you'll have to practice more. Swa Xiaoqing was so angry that she choked with rage. Chapter 72. I know, you're jealous of me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 72. I know, you're jealous of me. Luo Chenxi was about to leave. Indeed, she did not have the money to buy the fabrics here, so there was no need to make a fool of herself just because someone mocked her. Since she had already seen the goods, there was no need for her to stay. Sua Xiaoqing came back to her senses and darted in front of her. Wait, you can't leave. Luo Chenxi grinned sarcastically. What's the matter? The main door of the entire shop is right there and you aren't letting anyone leave. Sua Xiaoqing, do you really think you own this place? Sua Xiaoqing was briefly shaken for a moment, but suddenly seemed to remember something and gradually relaxed her tense expression and changed her composure. Luo Chenxi, listen to yourself, what are you even talking about? You made it sound as if I was trying to pick a fight. I stopped you in your tracks because we were former schoolmates. Since you are so poor that you can't afford these fabrics here, I'm willing to help you out for the sake of our past friendship. How about this? You get to stay here and look around as much as you want. If there's anything that you'd like to touch, you can have the shop assistant to bring you a sample. I'll bear the compensation if anything gets damaged. Sua Xiaoqing put up a magnanimous front as her words took a big 180-degree turn. She sounded as if she really wanted to help. Luo Chenxi could not figure out her intentions and frowned. Sua Xiaoqing, what are you trying to pull? Sua Xiaoqing smiled brightly. I'm not trying to pull anything, I just wanted to help a fellow classmate. That's not necessary. We're competitors, we'll meet during the semi-finals. Luo Chenxi paid no heed to her flowery words and turned around to leave. Hey, wait, don't leave in such a hurry. I'm just being kind. What's with that attitude? Sua Xiaoqing anxiously chased after her. As long as Luo Chenxi left, there would be no one left for her to boast to. Just then, the door was pushed open again and a man walked in. Sua Xiaoqing's eyes lit up as she turned around and looked. The person she was waiting for, finally showed up. Honey, you are finally here, I've waited so long for you. Sua Xiaoqing wiggled her waist and ran towards the man, her voice became extremely sweet. Luo Chenxi felt goosebumps all over her body. Who is that person? That is Miss Sua's boyfriend, young Master Chen. Young Master Chen comes from a wealthy family. Not only is he handsome and rich, but he loves Miss Sua with all his heart. Every time Miss Sua came here for fabrics, young Master Chen would always pay for them. It's all thanks to the support from such an amazing boyfriend that Miss Sua can become a designer with a promising future. Unlike a certain someone who can't even afford fabric, the shop assistant chimed in. She took the initiative to flatter the couple just so she could make up for her chuckling at Sua Xiaoqing back there, and also made sure to slip in an extra bit of insult towards Luo Chenxi. When Sua Xiaoqing heard this, a smug smile appeared on her face. She tried so hard to keep Luo Chenxi here just for this very moment. She wanted Luo Chenxi to know that there was no need to be talented in design. She was already a winner in life. Sua Xiaoqing walked toward Luo Chenxi with her arms wrapped around her boyfriend and stood before her with a bright smile on her face. Chenxi, this is my boyfriend. You know him too. You haven't seen him for so many years. I'll bet you didn't expect me to be with him, did you? Hearing this, Luo Chenxi was stunned for a moment before she took a closer look at young Master Chen. His facial features were quite delicate, but he did not seem to be taller than her. He was also overweight and his hairline had already shifted to the back. His face had a faint, greasy luster. Handsome? I don't think so. But he did look familiar. Just where had she seen him before? My apologies, I don't seem to remember where have I met young Master Chen before. Oh please, Chenxi, stop pretending. He is none other than the most handsome boy in our art campus back then, Chen Junjie. Didn't you have a crush on him before? I get that you're jealous of us getting together, but there's no need to act like you don't know him when he's your former schoolmate. Sua Xiaoqing covered her mouth and laughed exaggeratedly. Chapter 73. Now, the tables have turned. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 73. Now, the tables have turned. What? Chen Junjie. Luo Chenxi widened her eyes in shock. Chen Junjie was indeed the most handsome boy back in their art campus days. He came from a wealthy family and was pretty good looking. Many girls fawned all over him. However, Luo Chenxi did not think that he was that handsome at all back then. He was just better at dressing up compared to his peers. Moreover, Chen Junjie was not someone with a good personality. He was a two-timer that dated a lot of girls back then and even caused some of them to have miscarriages. He was without a doubt a scumbag through and through. She had no idea how Sua Xiaoqing got involved with such a person. Seeing Luo Chenxi's surprised look, Sua Xiaoqing became even more pleased. That's right, he's Chen Junjie. I only found out later that he's not only rich, but his uncle is also the deputy mayor of the city. It's been almost a year since my honey and I have been together, and we are planning to get married after I win the grand prize in the Huafeng competition. Sua Xiaoqing held her chin high as she anticipated Luo Chenxi's jealousy. Back then, Luo Chenxi was the prettiest girl in the school and many boys chased after her. Sua Xiaoqing too, was a beauty herself, but when compared to Luo Chenxi, she was no better than an ordinary girl. Now, the tables had turned. She had won over the heart of the richest and most handsome boy of the school and was about to be married into a wealthy family, whereas Luo Chenxi was so poor that she could not even afford a piece of fabric. The shop assistant chimed in. Only someone like Miss Sua who excels in both talents and looks can get married to someone from a wealthy family. As for a poor certain someone, she shouldn't even think about it. Sua Xiaoqing, delighted to hear those words, held on to Chen Junjie's arm and wiggled coquettishly. Honey, should we send Chenxi an invitation when we get married? She is our former classmate, so she should definitely be there. She was dead set on drowning poor, single Luo Chenxi with the sight of her flirting with Chen Junjie. However, the man next to her did not play along with her as usual even though she kept up her flirtatious wiggling. Sua Xiaoqing frowned in confusion and was about to say something, then Chen Junjie suddenly shook her off and threw her to the side with a strong force. He then strode all the way up to Luo Chenxi and became so excited that his face turned red. Luo Chenxi, you really are Luo Chenxi. I've been waiting for you to return ever since you went to Y country, and you finally have. Did you come here to look for fabrics too? Luo Chenxi was shocked by his reaction and reflexively took a few steps back. Young Master Chen, it's been a while since we last met. I'm just here for some window shopping. I was just about to leave. Chen Junjie instantly took a few steps ahead and followed closely next to her. Chenxi, you must be here to buy fabrics, right? Which one do you fancy? Shop away and just put everything on my tab. These fabrics are imported from abroad, you can't find them in a common shop. Don't worry about my money, buy all you want. Luo Chenxi was shocked after hearing Chen Junjie's words. Young Master Chen, you aren't having a fever, are you? Why are you paying for my fabrics? I don't think we're that close, right? Also, please don't call me by my first name. However, Chen Junjie acted as if he didn't hear her as he continued, Chenxi, you don't know this, but I've liked you since high school. You headed off to Y country before I could ask you out for a date. It has been my biggest regret. This time, I won't let go of you. What did you just say? Luo Chenxi's jaw dropped so far it almost hit the ground. Chapter 74. My boyfriend is a billion times more handsome than you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 74. My boyfriend is a billion times more handsome than you. It was true that Chen Junjie did confess to her back in high school. He even thought that it was romantic to prepare 999 roses and laid them out in a heart shape at the bottom floor of their dormitory. However, Luo Chenxi felt that it was really stupid for anyone to pull off something like this. She did not even bother heading downstairs and poured a bucket of water straight onto Chen Junjie from the top. And yet, this guy still said that he liked her. Did he have a screw loose in his head? More importantly. Come on, your girlfriend is standing right there. How can you confess to me right in front of her? Please, have some dignity. At the same time, Sua Shaoqing had also recovered from her initial shock and her face turned as red as tomatoes from anger. The taller the pedestal that she stood on, the harder she fell. She dared not even turn to see the look on the shop assistant's face. Never in her wildest dreams had she expected that the boyfriend she was so proud of would ditch her in the blink of an eye and confess to Luo Chenxi. Sua Shaoqing was so angry that she ran to the two furiously as they bickered. Instead of confronting Chen Junjie, she lifted her hand in an attempt to slap Luo Chenxi in the face. You'd *MNB *TCH. How dare you steal my boyfriend? I always knew you were a shameless vixen. Take this. A sharp slap sounded and echoed in the shop. Sua Shaoqing covered her right cheek in disbelief. You, she was supposed to be the one who made the first move, but not only had she failed, she also became the one who took a firm slap to the face instead. Luo Chenxi's lips twitched a little. Get your facts straight. It was your boyfriend who was trying to two-time you, I did not accept his confession. Why are you coming to me for revenge? Go to him instead. Chen Junjie did not even give so much as a glimpse towards Sua Shaoqing. Instead, he scrambled to explain himself. Chenxi, you've got it wrong. This woman isn't my girlfriend. It was all her own wishful thinking. Luo Chenxi could not bear to listen any longer. Sua Shaoqing was indeed an idiot, but Chen Junjie on the other hand was a scumbag on a whole other level. She might just throw up her lunch if she stayed any longer. I really have something to attend to, I'll take my leave now. I don't think I'll be able to attend your wedding and I wish the both of you a happy marriage. An idiot and a scumbag, they seemed like a perfect match. It would be better to wish them a happy marriage so they would stop bringing harm to the others. Luo Chenxi turned around to leave. However, Chen Junjie refused to give up and chased after her even after she had exited the shop. Listen to me. Whatever it is between Sua Shaoqing and I, it's really not what you think. She drugged me and slept with me, then cried and asked me to take responsibility after that. I can't help it. Actually, I don't like her at all. I'll dump her at once as long as you accept my confession. Luo Chenxi could not stand his pestering anymore. She stopped and turned around, then said coldly, what does your matter have to do with me? I already have a boyfriend, and he's a billion times richer and more handsome than you. We get along really well together, so please stop bothering me. Chen Junjie did not believe her in the slightest. Don't lie to me, how is it that you can't afford the fabrics if you do have a rich boyfriend? You can't fool me, my feelings for you are real, I've told you. Stop pestering me, or my boyfriend will be mad. Luo Chenxi put up a stern face as she debated in her head if she should give this guy a good beating in public. She had not checked her luck before coming out today, and ended up having to deal with both of these weirdos. Don't go yet, Chen Junjie caught up with her again. Just then, Luo Chenxi felt a sudden pain on her wrist as she was tugged backwards and shielded behind someone. What are you trying to pull on my girlfriend? Said a sexy and deep voice. Luo Chenxi raised her head in surprise. Mu Yichen. Why is he here? Chapter 75. A True Aristocrat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 75. A true aristocrat. Chen Junjie ran toward Luo Chenxi before she could react. Looking at the woman shielded in young Master Mu's embrace, he was briefly stunned as he instinctively felt danger. Mu Yichen had been a person of nobility for a long time. His comportment naturally exuded a noble vibe that had a pressing presence to the common folk even without him deliberately showing it off. Moreover, at this moment, his cold temperament was nowhere near enough to conceal his fury. Who are you? Chen Junjie asked in a trembling voice. Mu Yichen glanced at him coldly. You dare question my identity when you are the one chasing my girlfriend? Chen Junjie's eyes widened in disbelief. No, impossible. Are you really her boyfriend? The man who stood before him was obviously a member of the aristocracy. The car parked not far from here was a limited edition luxury vehicle that was worth at least 50 million yuan. Despite Chen Junjie claiming to be a rich person, that was a vehicle that he could only see in magazines, let alone seeing it in person. Luo Chenxi mentioned that she had a boyfriend more handsome and richer than him. Chen Junjie just assumed that it was an excuse she made up to turn him down. Who would have thought that it was all real? Mu Yichen could not be bothered to babble with him and coldly utter one simple word, scram. Chen Junjie's face darkened instantly, he gritted his teeth and retorted, how dare you? Who do you think you are talking to? Listen here, my uncle is Vice Mayor Chen of T City. Do you think so highly of yourself just for being rich that you can challenge the higher-ups of the authorities? Vice Mayor Chen. Mu Yichen finally looked him in the eye. Chen Junjie thought that he was shaken, so he gained confidence and continued, do you realize how powerful am I now? Hurry up and put Miss Luo down, or be prepared to live behind bars. Be it his looks or his wealth, there was no way he was a match for the man before him. However, no matter how rich a person is, there's no way that he would dare pick a fight with the vice mayor of the city. Chen Junjie glanced at Mu Yichen arrogantly and darted toward the man in an attempt to pull Luo Chenxi away. A trace of coldness flashed across Mu Yichen's eyes. He took a step back while shielding the woman in his arms, then kicked Chen Junjie to the ground. Chen Junjie fell heavily to the ground. Fortunately, he hit the flower bed on the side and it softened his fall, but he still felt as if his bones were broken. His vision blurred from the agonizing pain. Chen Junjie flew into a rage out of humiliation and angrily cursed, you hit me. I can't believe you hit me. I'm going to have my uncle arrest you and sentence you to jail for the rest of your life. Just you wait. Mu Yichen looked down at him and sneered, since you keep talking about Vice Mayor Chen, fine then. Men, have this rascal sent to Vice Mayor Chen and relay this message. His nephew dared to lay his filthy fingers on my woman, have him teach this brat a lesson or I will do it on his behalf. What? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Bnoel Dun Chen Junjie did not understand what he said, but for some reason, he felt an ominous feeling rising in his heart. A few tall bodyguards walked into the fray. They held Chen Junjie down and started dragging him away. You! What are you trying to do? Unhand me. Let go of me now. Chen Junjie finally realized that he messed with someone out of his league. He became so scared that his face turned pale. He's not even afraid of Vice Mayor Chen. Just who exactly is Luo Chenxi's boyfriend? Shortly after that, Mu Yichen's face still remained stern even after getting rid of the annoying pest. He looked at the woman in his arms and lifted her chin, forcing her to lock eyes with him. We haven't seen each other for only a day, and here you are, hooking up with another man. Are you trying to get back at me for not satisfying you at night? Chapter 76. Eyes off for one day, yet another man trying to hook up with her. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 76. Eyes off for one day, yet another man trying to hook up with her. You. What nonsense are you going on about this time? Mu Yichen appeared like a white knight out of nowhere and carefully shielded her in his arms, just like what a boyfriend would do. With her face pressed against his chest, Luo Chenxi felt his steady heartbeat and secretly blushed. She never had a man shelter her in his embrace like this without a second thought. Luo Chenxi wanted to express her gratitude, but Mu Yichen started interrogating her before she could say anything. Her heartfelt emotions disappeared in an instant and she was harshly thrown back to reality. That's right, Mu Yichen was not her real boyfriend. He was just her husband in name. There was no way Mu Chen would fall for her. He only chased Chen Junjie away to live up to his reputation of being a husband. Didn't you see it just now? It was Chen Junjie who insisted on pestering me. I've already told him that I have a boyfriend. She bit her lips and tried to explain. Hearing this, Mu Chen suddenly recalled the conversation he overheard when he rushed over. This woman mentioned that she already has a boyfriend and that her boyfriend is 1,000,000,000 times richer and more handsome than Chen Junjie. At least she's got good taste. Mu Chen's expression immediately eased up by a lot, but his grip on Luo Chenxi's chin was still firm as ever. Then why was he so persistent? Didn't you come here to buy fabrics? How did you end up bumping into him? Luo Chenxi was briefly stunned. How did you know that I came here to buy fabrics? A hint of awkwardness flashed across Mu Chen's face, but he quickly concealed it with a cold face and firmly said, "Don't you dare change the topic. Answer my question." There was no way he would let the woman know that he specially instructed old Lu to pick her up because he was afraid that she would return home in the middle of the night again, just like she did on the second day of their marriage. He hesitated before coming because he was scared that she would mistake his kindness for affection toward her. However, he was glad that he made the right decision to come here. He had only kept his eyes off this woman for one day and another man had already tried hooking up with her. Despite him not having any feelings for Luo Chenxi, he could not accept the fact that his own wife was being pestered by another man. Luo Chenxi observed his ever-changing gloomy face and carefully answered, "There's really nothing between us. I was trying to buy fabrics in that shop up ahead when I realized that I didn't bring enough money. When I was leaving, I bumped into the woman that is taking part in the same competition as me and we started arguing. Her boyfriend, Chen Junjie, came soon after. He is my high. We once met at a cocktail party when he suddenly said he likes me, and he has been really persistent ever since then. This incident is really baffling to me." Luo Chenxi did intend to tell him what exactly happened, until she suddenly remembered that she was supposed to be Luo Chenxin instead of Luo Chenxi. She quickly swallowed the bit about high school and told the tale in a different way. After she had finished explaining, she looked at Mu Chen nervously. Fortunately, although Mu Chen still had a gloomy look on his face, he did not pressure further. It seemed like he bought into her explanation. Mu Chen released his grip on her chin, but his other arm was still firmly clasped around her waist. So, the dignified young madam of the Mu family, who entered a shop in an attempt to buy a few rags, ended up not being able to pay for them. "Luo Chenxin, you do know your ways around tarnishing my name." Luo Chenxi did not expect the topic to change so quickly. She was briefly thrown into a trance and could not help but furiously glare at Mu Chen when she came back to her senses. Chapter 77. I shall teach you how to be the Mu family's young madam. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77. I shall teach you how to be the Mu family's young madam. What do you mean? I'd just not buy it for the time being. If I don't have enough money, what's there to be ashamed of? She led an ordinary life since she was young. Her adoptive mother, Lu Wenjun, was just an ordinary office worker and they were not well off financially. She worked hard to apply scholarships for her studies and also worked part-time to lessen the burden on her family. Therefore, when Mu Chen spoke like money had never been a problem to him and even complained that she was tarnishing his name, she felt a little upset on the inside. Mu Chen looked at her angry little face with a deep gaze and suddenly said, "You dumb woman, have you never thought about..." He stopped halfway. Luo Chenxi asked in confusion, "Thought about what?" Mu Chen suddenly let go of her and stood up straight. "Since you don't know how to act like Mu family's young madam, I shall teach you today." "What does that mean?" "Mu Chen, what are you trying to say? Why don't I understand a single word you just said?" Luo Chenxi blankly blinked her eyes as her face became puzzled. Mu Chen did not explain. Instead, he took out his phone from his pocket and dialed a number. "Chua Feng, you have 15 minutes. Purchase the ownership of the fabric shop at the westernmost part of the Jiangbei Road textile market. Wait, what? Purchase, what? Luo Chenxi's eyes widened when she heard Mu Yichen's words. She thought she was just hearing things. Not only her, assistant Zhuo Feng on the other end of the phone was also baffled. Young master, why do you want to acquire a fabric shop all of a sudden? Since when did the Mu Group step into the clothing industry? This is completely unheard of, and more importantly. Also, 15 minutes. How is that sufficient? We will also need the owner's agreement too, Mu Yichen coldly ordered. I gave you an order, now do it. This is the He family's business, I'll handle the explanation to Jinxi. Yes. I'll get to it right away. When he hung up, the woman beside him had a shocked look on her face. Her mouth had widened into an O shape, making her look especially adorable. Are you really going to buy this shop? Mu Yichen glanced at her. Don't you like the fabrics in there? His nonchalant tone made Luo Chenxi even more flustered than she already was. I still do, but I only need to buy a few pieces for the competition. All I need is a few bucks. Do you really have to acquire the entire shop? This is just going too far. Mu Yichen nonchalantly answered, what if you screw up while making the clothes? What if you become unsatisfied with the end product and want to give it another shot? Won't you be going back to the shop to buy more fabrics? Enough, this shop is nothing more than a small fry. We'll just buy it for fun, don't let it get to you. Luo Chenxi was speechless. Just for fun. He really is an evil tyrant with a lot of money. Alright, hurry up and pick out the fabrics you want and bring them back. Tang Tang is waiting for us at home. Luo Chenxi was briefly sent into a trance when he mentioned Tang Tang. Mu Yichen grabbed her wrist and led her toward the shop. When they reached the entrance, Mu Yichen's phone suddenly rang. He took a look at the caller's name on the screen but did not answer immediately. Instead, he turned to Luo Chenxi and said, go on in without me, I need to take this call. Oh, okay. Luo Chenxi nodded and obediently walked into the shop. Only then did Mu Yichen answer the call. Yichen, what the hell are you doing? I can't believe you want to buy an entire fabric shop. You even want it done with such a short notice. Whatever for? Why are you in such a hurry? His best friend, Jinxi's voice could be heard from the phone. Mu Yichen said, cut the crap. This is nothing more than a small business to the He family. I'll pay 50 million for it, give me the ownership now. This is not a matter of money. My big brother opened this shop when he was pursuing my sister. In law back in the day. How am I supposed to explain it to him if I sell it to you? Refuse to sell it to me and you won't be able to explain it to me. Are you threatening me? What's so good about this fabric shop? Jinxi's suspicion grew as he continued giving it a thought. Something's not right, the Mu family isn't involved in the clothing industry. This isn't for investment for sure. Don't tell me. I remember now, Luo Chenxin studied fashion design back in F country. You're not doing this for that vixen, are you? Chapter 78. Don't ever speak of her like that again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 78. Don't ever speak of her like that again. Mu Yichen subconsciously frowned at the way Jinxi addressed Luo Chenxin. Back then, he used to scold that woman a lot himself. However, now that he heard it from someone else, it felt rather harsh to the ears. Enough, don't ever speak of her like that again. After all, she's now the young madam of the Mu family. Mu Yichen, you must have gone insane, haven't you? Are you actually doing this for Luo Chenxin? Jinxi cried out in shock. Mu Yichen frowned. It's just a shop, and there's no such thing as doing it for someone else. Is 50 million not enough for you? Then, I can raise the price. 60 million. How does that sound? Luo Chenxi walked into the fabric shop again. The moment she entered, she heard a fierce argument coming from inside. What is the meaning of this? How dare you force your customers to buy your products? Luo Chenxi was a little surprised to hear Zhou Xiaoqing's voice. She thought that Zhou Xiaoqing had already left a long time ago, so why was she still here? Following which the shop assistant walked toward her and retorted mockingly, "Miss Zhou, that's not how it is at all. You specially ordered these fabrics and even had us tailor the materials according to your request. There's no way we can sell them to the other customers now if you refuse to honor your end of the deal." I've never said anything about not buying them. Beads of cold sweat broke out on Zhou Xiaoqing's forehead. It's just that. I'll buy them a little later. When my boyfriend comes, he'll pay for them. The shop assistant scoffed, "Miss Zhou, are you sure that young Master Chen is still your boyfriend? He ran toward his so-called soul-mate as soon as he saw her, and I think I even overheard him dumping you on the spot." Hearing this, Zhou Xiaoqing became so angry that she might just choke from rage. Back then, she only wanted to show off her love life to Luo Chenxi, so she deliberately arranged for Chen Junjie to appear in front of her. Who would have thought it would backfire on her? Chen Junjie immediately chased after Luo Chenxi the moment he saw her and cut ties with Zhou Xiaoqing right on the spot. He had not returned ever since then. On the other hand, the snobbish shop assistant's attitude towards Zhou Xiaoqing took a 180-degree turn the moment it seemed like she was getting dumped by her rich boyfriend. She was afraid of Zhou Xiaoqing going back on her word. That's why she demanded the latter to settle the payment immediately. Where else would she get the money for it when she no longer had Chen Junjie on her side? The only thing she could do was to decline paying for her products this time around and come back again when she had gathered enough funds. Of course, the shop assistant did not intend to let her off that easily. Thus, the two brought themselves into a stalemate. Luo Chenxi walked in, Zhou Xiaoqing noticed her presence and immediately pounced up. "You'd *MNB**TCH. How dare you come back here? Let me ask you this, where is my boyfriend? How dare you seduce him? Give him back to me." Luo Chenxi became speechless. How would I know where Chen Junjie is? He has already left the textile market. Nonsense, he wouldn't just leave me here. You must have done something to him. You vixen, watch me rip that shameless face of yours into pieces. Zhou Xiaoqing put all the blame on Luo Chenxi for the humiliation she suffered from Chen Junjie and the shop assistant. She rushed toward Luo Chenxi in a desperate attempt to rip her apart. Luo Chenxi stood still without moving an inch as the corners on her lips curled up. "What is it? Do you want to take another beating?" Zhou Xiaoqing froze at the sight of her smirk as she felt a chill run down her spine. She suddenly recalled that Luo Chenxi had a black belt in Taekwondo and started trembling in fear. Her lifted arm froze in place. Her fear stopped her from actually hitting Luo Chenxi, but at the same time she was reluctant to drop her hand. Luo Chenxi shook her head at the sight of her stiffness. She decided to let her be and continued to shop for fabrics. Zhou Xiaoqing felt indignant and started mocking her again. "What are you looking at? Did you suddenly have the money to afford these fabrics?" Luo Chenxi took a glance at her. "It doesn't seem to be your business whether or not I can afford them, does it? Why don't you try figuring out how to pay off your debt over there?" Zhou Xiaoqing wanted to retort, but the shop assistant immediately chimed in, "That's right, Miss Zhou, since you said young Master Chen will be paying for you, hurry up and ring him up. What are you still stalling for?" Zhou Xiaoqing could only suppress the anger in her heart. She picked up her phone again and tried calling Chen Junjie. However, nobody picked up even after she made a few calls. Could Chen Junjie have dumped her for Raoul? Zhou Xiaoqing instantly became terrified. Coming from an ordinary family, there was no way she could afford to pursue her career in fashion design if she lost the support of a rich man like Chen Junjie. On the other hand, Luo Chenxi finished circling the entire shop and picked out the fabrics she wanted. These, and these. Please get them wrapped up for me. Chapter 79. Finally caught a hold of Luo Chensi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 79. Finally caught a hold of Luo Chensi. Sua Shaoqing and the shop assistant widened their eyes at the same time and looked at Luo Chensi in astonishment. Miss, are you sure you want me to wrap them up for you? Are you really buying them? Do you really have the money? You aren't screwing with me, are you? The shop assistant stood still and showed no intention of serving Luo Chensi at all. The words that came out of her mouth were full of doubts. In her opinion, Luo Chensi really did not look like someone who could afford such expensive fabrics. Young Master Chen deliberately tried to pay for her fabrics just now, but he had somehow left the shop. Luo Chensi glanced at her. What is it? Are you refusing a customer's request? Do you know how business works? If you're tired of doing so, please have your manager personally do it for me instead. The shop assistant had a confused look on her. If Luo Chensi could truly afford these fabrics and complain to the manager that she wasted a customer's time, she might actually get fired. You, who do you think you are? Who are you to have our manager serve you in person? Fine, if you want me to wrap these up for you so badly, I'll do it. I'd like to see if you can actually pay for them. The shop assistant had no choice but to do as Luo Chensi requested, as she grumbled in her heart with frustration. Luo Chensi paid no heed to her complaints and continued making more requests. This white velvet fabric is so cute, and it looks very warm. I can turn this into a pajamas for Tang Tang, wrap this up. Wow, this fabric can be made into a princess gown. It can also be used for a matching flowery hair ornament. I'm sure Tang Tang will like them, wrap this up too. And this, after picking out the fabrics she needed for the Huafeng competition, Luo Chensi intended to check out the shop more just to grasp the fashion trend that was currently in season. However, as she did, her mind started imagining scenes of the little dumpling wearing all sorts of beautiful clothes. Then it became a shopping session for the little dumpling's clothing materials without her even realizing it. The corners of Luo Chensi's lips curled up when she thought of how adorable the little dumpling would look when the little girl wore the clothes that she made. The shop assistant followed behind her and wrapped up the fabrics as she asked. At first, she thought Luo Chensi could only afford a few pieces at most, but she gradually picked so many more that the fabrics eventually piled as high as a little hill in no time. Alright, that's all for now. Ah! Luo Chensi's eyes happened to sweep across the men's section and her eyes immediately lit up when saw one of the fabrics. This suits him very well. Mui Chen's cold, handsome face appeared in her mind, and she subconsciously took the fabric off the shelf. Wrap this up too. Luo Chensi, are you serious? I can't believe you picked out that many fabrics. Do you even realize how much these add up to? At least 1 million. How is a filthy poor woman like you going to cough up that kind of money? Sua Shaoqing came up to Luo Chensi with a smirk while she pointed at the pile of fabrics on the table. Even young Master Chen himself had never bought her anything worth more than 1 million at one go. Judging by Luo Chensi's background, she could sell herself off and still not get that kind of money. The shop assistant suspected something was up. She came up and tossed the last roll of fabric into the pile. She turned to Luo Chensi and said unhappily, "Alright, I've wrapped all the fabric you asked for. There are 21 rolls in there, totaling 1,580,000 renminbi. Now, pay up." After saying that, she looked at Luo Chensi arrogantly, as if she was waiting for a good show. Luo Chensi nodded. Alright, give me a moment. The person I'm waiting for will be here soon. It took her quite a while to pick out those fabrics. Even so, Mui Chen's phone call was so long that he still had not appeared after such a long time. She did not mind waiting a little longer. However, the shop assistant and Sua Shaoqing became excited as they heard her words. They felt like they finally caught a hold of Luo Chensi. "TSK, what tricks are you playing now? Waiting for someone. Don't make me laugh. If you can't afford these fabrics, just say so. Who could you be waiting for to pay for you? Are you telling me that you too have a boyfriend like young Master Chen? Sua Xiaoqing sneered. Chapter 80. This couple reeked of scum and idiocy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 80. This couple reeked of scum and idiocy. Luo Chenxi looked at her with a pretentious smile. Sua Xiaoqing, what right do you have to say that to me? Have you settled your own payment? Sua Xiaoqing's proud expression suddenly froze. Why? Why do you care? As long as my boyfriend arrives, I'll pay up in a jiffy. What about you? How are you going to cough up the money? You could sell yourself off and you won't even make this much. Luo Chenxi shrugged her shoulders. That's for me to handle. All I know is that I should queue up when I pay for things. I'm a civilized person, so I won't cut the queue. So, please, after you. With that, she gestured for Sua Xiaoqing to go on ahead. Sua Xiaoqing's expression turned an ugly shade as she gritted her teeth and tried to retort. However, the shop assistant could not wait any longer. What's the deal with you two? Is this just straight up an unlucky day for me? Why are you weirdos trying to shop without paying up? Just say so if you can't afford to buy them and stop wasting my time. Sua Xiaoqing felt so embarrassed that her face turned extremely gloomy. She had always received the VIP treatment in this shop. When had she ever been ridiculed like this? Her fingers trembled from rage. You'd better remember this. I'm going to get my boyfriend to pay for it now. I'm going to make complaints about you to the owner of the shop. I'm getting you sacked. Bnoel. I bet you've already got dumped by young Master Chen, yet here you are, saying that you want to file complaints about me. That's fine, but settle the bill first. The shop assistant was unshaken. Sua Xiaoqing took out her phone and tried to call young Master Chen. The call finally got through after a good amount of attempts. Hello. Honey, where are you? Have you forgotten that I'm still in the fabric shop at Jiangbei Road? Can you please come here and pick me up? I've waited so long for you. Sua Xiaoqing spoke in a pitch that was unusually high and her tone was extremely coquettish. Luo Chenxi almost threw up from hearing that. Sigh, this couple that reeks of scum and idiocy. Stay away from them, stay away from them. Sua Xiaoqing completely held off from mentioning a single thing about Chen Junjie, timing her right under her nose. All she wanted was to coax him back to pay her bills. However, she was greeted with Chen Junjie's furious voice. Sua Xiaoqing, you'd *MNB *TCH. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have to fall into this miserable state today. How dare you ring me up? Listen here, you better stay as far away as you can. I've broken up with you, there's nothing between us anymore. Beep, beep. Sua Xiaoqing's eyes widened in shock when she heard the beeping tone from the phone. She would never have dreamed that Chen Junjie would say such a thing. Chen Junjie's voice was so loud it almost sounded like a roar. Luo Chenxi overheard it even though she was standing some distance away. She could not help but chuckle. It seemed that Mu Yichen's men had dealt with Chen Junjie the harsh way, so much so that he vented his anger on Sua Xiaoqing instead of reflecting on his mistakes. However, Sua Xiaoqing herself was not any better either. Had she not looked for trouble herself by using Chen Junjie to pressure Luo Chenxi, she would not have fallen into this miserable state. Sua Xiaoqing's face was as pale as porcelain. She stood rooted to the ground, unable to say a word. She actually got dumped by Chen Junjie. The ticket to a wealthy life that she fought so hard to get was gone just like that. How did this happen? A sudden fury ignited deep within her heart as she pointed at Luo Chenxi and cursed, "You damn vixen, it must you. I'll bet that you said something to young Master Chen, didn't you?" Luo Chenxi glanced at her. "How many times do I have to tell you? I won't even bat an eye at a man like Chen Junjie." "You," Sua Shaoqin wanted to continue, but the shop assistant chimed in with a frown. It seems that young Master Chen won't be coming. Miss Sua, how should we proceed? Are you still buying these materials?